Yes, yes, yes! The boys are back in the building. How are we doing? It's Prem Heads. We've got a good show lined up for you today. Something we all want to talk about. But G, double A, how are we doing today? You feeling good?
Feeling gravy, man. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Double A.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit hot, sweating in this
I was gonna
fucking
say
bitch.
you look like already getting that workout in. I just said to double A everyone, I was just like, I've just been the gym, and then they both looked at me like, you've just been the gym. I was like, no, I've been plugging in some USB drives in the television. I've not been training. But literally, double A is like at it at this time. I'm still on my coffee, G. I don't know about you, but double A's
Oh,
got that
mate, I
work
just had a
to
cup
get
of
me.
tea. I'm good to go. Like,
I need the drive. But today's show for everyone tuning in, it's Liverpool's all-time Premier League 11. Now, what I'm going to do, we don't know how this is going to go. I've put loads of players into the hat. We're going to do it as we go along. Hopefully, I've not missed any players out, but I want you to get involved in the comments. Let us know who you choose for your positions. As we choose our positions, there'll be a scrolling banner along the bottom right there that we will put our team selections in so you can see. And then later on Instagram, we will be posting our all-time Premier League 11 up for Liverpool FC. But without further ado, I think it's time to jump in to the all-time Premier League 11. So let's take a look at this. Is there
hey, look, I'm
anyone
Ash
first?
today.
Is what?
I said I'm Ash today.
Oh yeah, you are. Look at that.
No, but I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it.
I
Let's
like
go.
that. Do you know what? I've got the hat on as well. Let me just put
Well,
that
this is
on
what
the
I'm
back.
saying.
I like that. I've got the white on as well. There we go. I'll be G. You can be Ash today. I like this. We're doing it. So
We're cool.
is there? I think I need to swap with like double A, so we've all got someone different. Let's just swap us all around. There we go. Let's play with your heads. There you go. Everyone,
All right, all right.
G. Is there anyone that springs to mind straight away? It's like that guy's got to be in my team. Liverpool all-time Premier League. He's got to be in.
Stevie G. Come on. Who else? There's only one name that's a guaranteed to be in any all-time. If you want to go back to Liverpool's first ever match till their last ever game, he goes in there regardless. Regardless.
Everyone agrees with you. There's like no debating Stevie G, but double A. Do you think every other position is kind of up for debate apart from Stevie G's position?
No, I don't. I
Who have
think
you?
I think Van Dijk's a shoe in as well. I think Alisson's a shoe in as well, definitely.
That's a good
For me
point. Van
personally.
Van Dijk gets in anybody's team, like, but we'll see because things could change. You know how these shows go; things could change. So let's take a look at our first position, goalkeeper. So here are the goalkeepers. It brings back some vibes. Now we've missed a
Mm.
few people out, but I could have put Grobbelaar in there as an option, but he had a better performance
He was
pre-Premier
more
League.
80s,
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah. This is the Premier League 11. So as you can see, we've got Alisson Becker, Pepe Reina. I loved Pepe Reina, by the way. Jersey Dudek, David James, and Sander Westerveld. Big shout because when I was doing this, Westerveld, treble winning season,
Mm.
he's in there as the goalkeeper. Like, he held us together in the early noughties. Does he deserve a little bit more credit? Because Dudek gets a lot of credit for the Istanbul Grobbelaar legs. Do you think Westerveld deserves a bit more credit as a Liverpool goalkeeper?
You could argue that maybe Vesterveld could have potentially been better than Dudek, but I felt like they're on like the same kind of level, if that makes sense. It was just obviously fortunate for Dudek. He got that chance in the Champions League final to save that penalty from Shevchenko. So it was like where he got that moment, Vesterveld never really got that chance. So, but I feel like they're on the same level. They're on the same level. So he probably should get a bit more respect potentially. I don't feel like they're as good as the first two that we've got listed up here. But you know what I mean? Like they were decent. They were decent.
G talks about these first two, double A, Alisson Becker, Pepe Reina. Are they the two? Just like no one else comes close. But when you look at it, like Dudek has more kind of history, a bit more nostalgia behind him. But Reina revolutionized like the game a little bit, didn't he? With the ball playing, with the drop kick. Remember the like volley sideways drop kick that everybody does now? Pepe started that. Who would you put in the double A as your pick?
Well, I said already Alisson, innit? But if I'm gonna go for the rest, best of the rest, I'm gonna go for Reina. I would say, and then I would go. I would probably edge towards Dudek just because of what G was saying, because of the moments. But I actually think that Westerveld was probably a more consistent keeper than Dudek, to be honest, because Dudek was error prone. But when he had his moments, his good moments, he had some great moments. If that makes
Origi.
sense.
He was the old school Origi.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but
but we've not mentioned really like we've touched on it. But David James, G, like when I was growing up, David James was like the guy. I used to get all the kits. He was a bit like he liked the different hairstyles. He was someone that I kind of wanted to be a goalkeeper because I loved David James in that kind of era. But we know what his nickname was: Calamity. He was a bit of a calamity at times, wasn't he?
The thing is, yeah, I'm just like you. When I was young, I used to be a goalkeeper, and he was the guy. Obviously, I looked at. I was like, yeah, like you know what I mean. I want to be like David James, as you said. You know what I mean. He had that kind of, would I say, swag about him or aura about him that just made you think, oh yeah. But as you said, like he was Calamity James, and it used to annoy me because I used to think, man, I like you, but you're not good. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not producing when I need you to produce. Like you're making silly mistakes, and it just used to frustrate me all the time. He's a good guy, man. I like him.
It's mad though when you think about it. Like England's #1 at the time as well. Like it was him, Seaman, like fighting out for it.
Listen, he's got a lot of appearances in the Premier League, a lot of clean sheets. Like he's got a bit of respect to his name.
Most penalty saves as well. The most penalty saves. Like it's mad. But like you said, it's Calamity James. You just can't, because we look at Reina though. He wasn't even first team for Spain because Casillas was, and then Alisson, Edison's preferred over. It's madness because these two are a level above. But that may just be the game now. So I think we all agree that Alisson Becker's got to go in there as our first choice goalkeeper. Let's put Alisson Becker in there. Let's move on to right backs then. This is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. So, right backs. I say it's going to get interesting, but you just look at one guy and you're like, how can we not? But Double A, through that list, is there anyone you feel like we may have missed off? Like Nathaniel Klein, is there a shirt for him? I don't really think there's anybody else, but one person on there that stands out for me as so underrated was Steve Finnan. Steve Finnan was so reliable, such good defender. He was just a constant in that team, especially moving through Istanbul. Does he deserve a little bit more credit, just like Vesterveld did?
I think Finland gets the credit he deserves, to be honest. But I do see what you mean in that sense. But I think when he was playing, everyone respected him and he did get the credit he deserves. But maybe now, when you look back at it, people don't look at him quite the same. But for me, he's second. Personally,
second alive. That's interesting. G, I think we all know who we're going to put first, but the best of the rest, McAteer was like old school, like him and McManaman teaming up down that right hand side. Great partnership. Yeah, Babel, like we spoke about Babel the other week when we did the Lost and Found. Babel could have been one of Liverpool's greatest if it wasn't for his unfortunate illness that he encountered. And Glenn Johnson, he did a job.
You know what it is? It come like what you're just saying there about Steve Finnan and being like underrated and stuff like that. I think it's almost like with Matip. I feel like people think, yeah, they're underrated because they're playing next to someone else who's a bit, well, like he's obviously maybe a level above and stuff like that. But I feel like these players, they get rated. But I feel like Steve Finnan, he definitely is second on that list. I don't know who third and fourth would be, but like he's definitely second when I'm looking at this list.
Yeah.
And again, Glenn Johnson, he was like, if he was as good as Trent at crossing, he could have been equally as good because he was good going forward. He could get back. He was quicker than Trent. Do you get what I mean? So if he was just as good as Trent at putting the ball in the box, he would have been a decent right back, a very, very decent right back. You know what I mean? So we've had some good fullbacks.
We have, and I think the left-hand side, when we see that, I think we've had a stronger left-hand side.
Oh, wow. So you see.
But these guys, you forget about them, don't you, Double A? Because tell me about Trent. Like, he's changed. He has completely changed the landscape of right backs, hasn't he, in world football?
Yeah, he has definitely. So you can't really look past the guy, to be honest. It has to be him as number one. Like
Trent,
yeah, he
number
just
one.
stands out. He just stands out so much.
He does
So
stand out. Like, if you look at the modern day game, double A, and how teams play now, look at Man City, look at Liverpool. He's not just a right back, is he? Like, when we talk about right backs, you talk about up and down the wing, like Gary Neville, full of energy, up and down. Zabaleta, full of energy, up and down. But Trent literally plays half the game in a right central midfield position, playing those intricate passes. You've got to be a baller now, haven't you, to play in the right back position in the modern game?
yeah, you do. You have to, but yeah, with him even more so because, as you say, like he goes right midfield, he goes centre midfield. Like sometimes you actually see him on the left as well. He's just all over the gaff. So
He's just mad.
yeah,
It's absolute. Is
yeah,
there any debate, G? Like, if you're picking a world 11,
Mm.
Trent's in there. If you're picking, last week we did the Premier League all-time 11, and I know you two were going a bit nostalgic, Ivanovic, Gary Neville, but if we're being honest with ourselves, Trent's gonna be in that all-time Premier League 11 by the end of his career, if not already, isn't he?
100%, man. He'll be there. To be honest, if we had just picked up maybe like more trophies and stuff, I probably would put him in there now. To be honest with you, like if he had picked up, let's say, 2 more Premier Leagues and maybe 1 more Champions League, I'd probably say yeah, Trent would be number one right now. But where he might just not have the substance to back it up in that sense, but he himself, you can tell already, he's already moving up the gears. It's going to be interesting to see Trent this season and where he takes his game. Because last season I felt he evolved his game where he was a bit more cultured, if that makes sense. So I'm going to see what he does this season. It'll be nice to know. Nice to know.
We got glimpses in that pre-season match. I don't want to talk about it too much because
Mm.
obviously the result wasn't the greatest, but we
Yeah.
saw Trent and Nunes. That kind of link up this season because we've never had a number 9 since Trent's been there that runs in behind, that pulls defenders. Like that ball in behind was there so many times. Double A, is that something that we can look forward to this season with Trent being in our team?
yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to a lot. Him, Robbo, more so because obviously Trent is a better. I would say he's a better crosser than Robbo, but the amount of balls we whip into the box to like small forwards, as in, not to say they're not good at that, because I think Jota's very good in the air. I think Firmino's good in the air. Mane was good in the air. Salah was okay in the air as well. But they're small guys.
Yeah.
And when they're going against like big centre backs, they're not the favourites to win the ball unless the ball is pinpoint to their head. Now, when we've got Nunes there, a lot of those balls, he's going to be challenging and he's going to be direct with them centre backs. And like, he's probably going to be like, if not the favourite, it's going to be equal footing most of the time to who wins that ball. So if the ball is as good as the balls we've been putting in, boy, I'm looking forward to it anyway. Just to say that.
I'm looking forward to that one. It's good. I'm looking forward to see how it develops over pre-season as well. But we've got a shout out to some people in the comments. So we've got Latif in the comments saying, shout out to Bruce Grobbelaar's spaghetti legs. Completely like Jersey Dudek, that Istanbul trophy. We don't have that without Grobbelaar because we know what Carragher said to Dudek. Bogdan Loyal, Bogdan is back again saying, we're all true about Finland. Like,
What up, Bogdan?
Bogdan, Finnan deserves a little bit more respect in saying certainly was better than Johnson, but you can't look for Trent. We've got Jerry James show tuning in. Let's go, says Jerry James. Big shout out to James.
Jerry.
Make sure you're following the Jerry James show because they've been dropping some fire shows lately. But this is Liverpool's all-time Premier League 11, so let's move on to the centre-back position. So we've got 2 to choose. It depends what formation are we going with. I think, are we going with a 4-3-3, 4-4-2? What would you go with, G?
I would go with 4-3-3 to be honest, but I don't know how Double A had his team at.
Double A, what formation? Double A likes to mix it up with this 4-4-2 kind of. He might even throw a diamond in there.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm surprised you haven't said 3 at the back.
What are you going with Double A? Or do you want to see the personnel first?
I want to see the personnel first.
You want
For
to
me,
see
it's
the
more about that.
personnel.
Yeah.
It is true because, like we did in the Prem all time, like we were looking at 4-4-2, but then we looked at 4-3-3, so it might change. Let's have a look at the centre backs. Now, there could be a host of people that I've missed, but for me, there were 9 standouts in the Premier League era for me. Virgil van Dijk, Jamie Carragher, Sami Hyypiä, Matip, Onshaw, Gomez, Agger, Skirtle. And I had to shout at Razor Ruddock. I had to put Razor Ruddock in there. I was thinking of like Phil Babb, maybe throw Phil Babb in there. There was lots of others, but do you think that 9, G, looking at them, is there anybody that we've missed for a shout out?
Nah, I can't really think of anybody else. You got Honcho in there. We got Honcho. Yeah, no, I think that's all right.
Not even Stelios Kirigiakos.
I mean, he was close. But I said, you know what? I couldn't pick between him and Van Dijk, so I just said, you know what? Let's just leave Van Dijk in.
Double A. Looking at that team there, Van Dijk, we all agree, like he'd be in my greatest 11 of all time. But the best of the rest, who in that list do you feel like is the most underappreciated amongst Liverpool fans?
For me, but this is personal opinion, and it's because of the way I like kind of like centre backs to play. I would say Agger, but it just depends on what you like. Because I like ball passing defenders that can come up and have a good shot on them and stuff like that. And Agger was that for me. It's just his injury record used to mess him up for me. But if you like more like strong, robust defenders that basically don't take any shit, they take no prisoners, then I think you're going to go for someone more like Hyypiä, maybe Ruddock. So it depends on, yeah. But then all round ability, I would probably say Gomez is better than all of them, to be honest.
And like Matip, Mr. Reliable, consistent, led us to these trophies. Like he always plays in the big game. It's mad thinking. You could even say after last season, like Konate's going to be in this mix as well soon. Like the way he's.
No, this is it. Skirtle might have to skirt real quick.
Skirtle might have to skirt. So,
literally.
Gee, we talk about Agger and Skirtle, and that I rate Skirtle. I think Skirtle doesn't get the props he deserves. Like goals he used to get. We think of Agger as goal scorer, but Skirtle used to get those crucial goals coming up for corners. No nonsense defender. I like that kind of thing. And when we're looking at this team, put our manager's hat on. We need a bit of balance. We need that Van Dijk's got the swag. He's got the silky smooth. Do we need someone next to Van Dijk who's going to be no nonsense, or do we want 2 ball playing? What you thinking, G?
The thing, like, I feel like there's 2 names that you could put next to Van Dijk, and they're both obviously 2 like opposing players when I'm looking at this list. And I feel Hyypiä maybe and Gomez. Those are the 2 that maybe you might look at. I was thinking Matip because I like Matip and I think he's a very, very good player. If I had to put them both up, as Double A said, with Joe Gomez, you kind of get like all of what everybody has already. So he can kind of play out the back like a little bit. He's a good, like he can tackle, he's fast. You know what I mean? He's kind of got like a full package, jack of all trades kind of thing. So I would look at him, but I'm leaning more towards it.
Yeah, Sami Hyypiä is like, he's the original kind of Van Dijk a little bit in that kind of the number 4, that kind of mold. But Double A, we've not even mentioned all-time appearances Premier League. Jamie Carragher, Mr. Mainstay. We've not mentioned him. Do you think Carragher's career, and I don't want to discredit the man, like I don't discredit anyone, but do you think Carragher's career kind of played out the way it did because there was no real competition for him at the time? When competition came, we started to see him pushed out the squad a little bit more by Agger, by Skirtle. Do you think that's the reason he had such longevity, or do you actually rate him as a player?
I do rate him as a player, but then I also agree with what you're saying in the sense that technically as a player, he wasn't as good as the others there. However, what he lacked in technical ability, I think he gave more than enough in like desire, determination, and there's mental attributes and stuff. So, and he was always someone that you could rely on, if that makes sense. You knew his limitations, because there were games where like I saw him get torn apart, but he never gave up. And even in matches where you see him get torn apart, he was still up for the fight, if that makes sense.
I've just got Drogba in my head, like Jamie Carragher, like clutching at Drogba's shirt, like
Henry,
yeah, that's the one that comes to me. Yeah,
there's a few of them.
But he never backed down from a challenge. But we do need to choose who we're going to put in there as our centre back. So I think Van Dijk nailed on. Van Dijk's in there, but G, who's your choice for the second centre back position and why?
I'm gonna go Hyypiä. I'll go Hyypiä. I felt like he was like a leader, and I feel in a two with Van Dijk, he would be the captain out of the two. He would be the marshal of that defense, but that would actually be better because Van Dijk can then just concentrate on what he likes to do without worrying about everybody else. Hyypiä will do that for you, and Hyypiä can just be more in the knowledge that I've got someone behind me who can catch anything. No one's getting past him. So I think as a two, as a partnership, I think those two would be the best.
Okay. Double A, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but both left-sided centre-backs, like, who's going to play in that right-sided unnatural position? Both leaders, they like to lead the defence. Is there going to be a bit of a headbutting? I'm just playing like the manager's hats on. Who are you going with for your centre-back?
I'm going Agger. Like, Agger for me is just... he was just... the ultimate defender. I don't know why, man. Like I've always just loved watching this guy play. Like just watching him play. Like just because he was actually a baller with it, more than anything else. He wasn't. I would say, all right. When it comes to just defending, there's quite a few guys I think that are better than him on that list. But as an all-round player, like Agger was there, and I think Agger playing with Van Dijk, it would just be too saucy for me. So yeah.
You know what? You're making it hard because I've got to put my own personal vote in, but your arguments like do ring true. If I'm being honest, I think a Joe Gomez, if he wouldn't have got injured, would have got in this list straight away.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like after 1920, Joe Gomez, if he carried that on, it's a no-brainer. Like those two have to be in. But for me, I'm looking at Joel Matip. Like, so underrated. He's in there for the big games. This is the best. Let's not forget, this is the best team we've ever had in the Premier League era. We talk about nostalgia and challenging for, like, European places, getting a Champions League in Istanbul. All those were miracles. This team now that we've got, this is an elite-level team. And Joel Matip is the partner for Van Dijk. He's the one that's trusted every time. I feel like he works on the right-hand side as well. You've got two lefties in there. I don't know. Joel Matip gets that vote for me, but we've got to come to a decision. We've got to decide. So we've got to have 2 votes each, and whichever player gets the most votes, they are in there. So, G, out of those 3, vote for 2 of them.
So out of Hyypiä,
and Matip.
Hyypiä and Matip.
Ooh, double A.
I got Matip.
I'm going with Matip and Hyypiä, but Matip's got the most votes.
Matip's got the most, yeah.
Joel Matip goes in there as Van Dijk's partner, and I like he's brought balance to my team. Do you know what's crazy, though, so far? It's literally our current squad that we've chosen. We've gone.
It would be most of them anyway.
Trent, that's it. We've got Alisson, Trent, Matip, and Virgil van Dijk. I'm going to put it up on the bottom of the screen right now as a banner so you can see who we've chosen. And we'll move on to the left back. This was an interesting one, the left back position. I'm just going to look who's in the comments, see what they're saying. Hyypiä and Virgil saying Bogdan. Virgil's a must, says Azan. Shout out to Lord Ragnar Klavan, says Latif. Klavan was a legend. Yes, he was. Left back. Let's take a look at the left back. No, some of these, like, this is a bit of nostalgia for me. Like, I know, G, your affinity to Risa, like, you love the man. Risa in this squad would have been unbelievable, but we've got Robbo.
Risa in this squad, yeah, mad.
Would have been mad. We've got Robbo, Risa, Aurelio. If it wasn't for injuries as well, this guy was a baller. Then Dominic Matteo, original, old school, and then Bjornaby. I put Bjornaby in there. Now there's a shout out for like Jose Enrique. I feel like I might have done him a bit dirty. I don't know, but
Bjornaby won the play. Was in the team of the year.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
Exactly. Is there anyone I've missed, G, do you think, left back wise, or do you think these are your five? It's hard to think off the top of your head, I know. Like,
yeah, I'll probably say that is probably the left back. Maybe Jose Enrique. Maybe.
Double A, you agreeing?
Yeah, I would have already been 6 and maybe tried to squeeze Enrique in there, but
yeah.
So let's get down to it then. Robertson, everybody's probably thinking in the comments. You're probably all thinking Robbo, but G, I think you're going to wax lyrical for Risa in this vote.
Yeah, of course, bro.
Put your argument across.
Risa was like, Risa is everything that you just need from a fullback. He can get forward. He's got enough energy to get back. He wasn't, I would probably say, really and truly, like, let's be honest, Robbo's not like the greatest defender. Like, he's not like a real sick defender. He's not poor either. But Risa and him, I feel like they're both as good defensively as each other, to be honest with you. So you've got that going for you. And he was actually a threat. We already know when it comes to Robbo and Trent, we know that Trent's probably more likely to score a goal if he's got like a shot or anything to get through. But with Robbo, when he gets clear on goal, you're just like, yo, what's you know he's not going to score. Whereas Risa, I was kind of confident more time that he would score, like give or take. If he's through on goal, you know he's going to score. He could finish. So I think for me, it's Risa all the way.
Do you think Costas has got the Risa about him? Like, Costas likes to get forward. He's not got the power in the left foot. He's not got the strike. But do you think he's got that mentality where, yes, I've got to defend, but I'm going to try and get in the box and get some goals?
Probably, yeah. He looks like if he maybe works upon more his energy getting back, because that's what Risa and Robbo are very good at, is you don't really notice that they're tired until they're really tired kind of thing, in a game. So I feel like if Costas can just work on just that, he'd probably be as complete as those guys as well. So you never know.
Double A, I saw you like pull your face a bit when G said like he's just as good defensively Risa as Robbo. Who would you put your argument across for? Is it out of those two, do you think, and which one would you choose?
it is out of those two. I would pick Risa, but I don't think Risa's as good defensively as Robbo. I don't think he is. But I think Risa, as an attacking friend, is actually even more potent than Trent, personally. Because Risa, when it actually comes to scoring goals, like what G said, like you have confidence. When this guy's about to take a shot, it's going in. You had that confidence.
Yeah, for real.
Like with Trent, I'm not saying that I don't have the confidence he will score. I know he's got a good shot, and I know he's got that, and I know he's more capable than say Robbo. But when Trent shoots, I'm not like thinking, oh wow, that's going to be like, in my heart. I'm not thinking that's going to be a goal. I'm thinking if he hits it right, it could be a goal. But with Risa, when you see him lining it up, you were getting excited because you're thinking, yeah, this is going in. You just saw it when he just lines that foot up. Yeah, so.
Do you know what it is about both? I think they both have that Scouser feel about them as well. Like that Liverpool feel, like Risa was so hungry to get stuck in, like against United, he'd always turn up. He'd always, like physically, he would match anybody. Like his legs were massive. We talk about Carlos, like this guy was up there, the power he used to generate. Plus, double A, you've got that free kick as well. Robbo doesn't offer the set pieces. He might take corners, but Risa's set piece ability was probably, alongside Stevie G, as lethal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
I actually think Robbo's the reason why Robbo takes the corners and stuff is because it works for the tactics and system. I actually don't think if Klopp had a choice, I don't think Robbo would be one of our corner because he's not that good at taking corners. Not he's not poor, but he's not a set piece taker. He just does it, I think, for the tactic. It works for him and Trent to do it.
Yeah, it's left foot. It's the left footer as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
You're not gonna go Mo Salah go and take a corner. Mo Salah's not going to take it. So when you look at anyone else in the team, Robbo probably takes it. It's different options from different sides. We mix it up a little bit, but again, he always hits the first man a lot of the time, and it's frustrating. I'd rather just see an in-swinger from that side. Get Trent taking everything because when
Thiago, if you need someone a bit, I don't know, anybody like.
But yeah, I agree. Do you know what? I'm agreeing with you both. I think our pick at left back, we've changed it up a little bit. Risa, because Risa in this squad, when you look at our back five now, Alisson, Trent, Matt, Van Dijk, and Risa, wow, that back four that's getting your goals, that's keeping your clean sheets. That's an elite back four. But we've got lots of comments flying in, so let me just take a look. Bogdan is saying the best left back in the Premier League era, Risa, over Ashley Cole.
I wouldn't go that far, but he's definitely
that's a big show. Like Ashley Cole was a different level, but you know what? I'll give you the Risa shirt for Liverpool. Risa must be over Robbo. He never missed a pass. Robbo's passes go wide and often in the crowd. That's Bogdan. So, again, people in the comments agreeing with what we're saying. I'm not going as far as saying his passes are in the crowd. And that's a bit disrespectful for Robbo because...
You're kind of disrespecting Robbo here.
You know what I mean? Up there with Trent with like 45 assists in the Premier League era level. So you've got to put some respect on his name for that. But we're thinking Risa in this team. He matches Robbo's output, but he gets more goals. It's as simple as that. So
remember, Risa scoring goals in a system that we weren't like. Yes, it was kind of the onus was on your wingers and wing backs and that to get forward, but not like how it is today. Imagine like today. Oh my days, bro! This guy will be scoring. He'll probably be in double digits for both goals and assists in this kind of system.
Gee, Bogdan's turning on you here. He's getting a bit argumentative. Let me pin this one. He's saying, because what? He's on about Ashley Cole. Because what? Playing in the best Chelsea. So you've got
forget Chelsea. Forget Chelsea. He was way better at Arsenal throughout that whole time than he was ever at Chelsea anyway. Like this guy's Ashley Cole is the best left back ever in the Premier League, 100%.
Ashley Cole goes. I go as far as saying you've got Carlos, Maldini.
Yeah, and I would place Cole ahead of all of them. To be honest with you,
he's up there with Maldini was a better centre back. To be honest, so
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Cole is up there with Roberto Carlos, but Carlos is just the guy in it. So let's move on to the juicy bit, the central midfield. Now it's up to you. You can choose two. Double A might throw a 4 in the mix and play a diamond. We don't know, but we'll see who we've got on the list. There's so many I want to mention as well, but this was my original list of 10 players for the Premier League era. So we've got the man, Xabi Alonso, Jamie Redknapp, Mascherano, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Stevie G, Hendo, Thiago, Molby, and Coutinho. Now, there's some missing from the list. The likes of Danny Murphy, who had a great time. I looked at Paul Ince, who was captain. You've got McAllister, who had that kind of good couple of seasons as a free transfer. James Milner might even be one that people want to mention. But, G, can you think of anyone else, or is this the 10? Is this the 10, like, yeah, I'm going to pick my 3 or 2 or maybe 4 for double A from this list?
Yeah, I was trying to think of more central midfielders, but there isn't really more that I would add. To be honest, the ones I want are here, so I'm good.
Yeah. Are you in that mind as well, double A? The ones we want are on this list.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
We look at the list then, and is there anyone there, G, that was like unfulfilled potential? And I'm talking like Jamie Redknapp. If Jamie Redknapp didn't get as many injuries, if Coutinho stayed at the club, would those two be up there as potential one of the best ever for Liverpool?
Coutinho more so. Jamie Redknapp was good. I feel like he was like a decent player kind of thing. And if he just obviously stayed clear of the injuries, he would have remained that. But I feel like Coutinho would have been like, imagine if Coutinho was able to stay with us. I wish he did. I would love if we'd got him back, but that's another story. But
then you've not got Virgil and Alisson, so it's like a catch-22, like you like to say, G.
Yeah.
I need that. I think I need that button, like a little G's catch-22. and then we can say like it's catch-22. We wish we kept Coutinho, but we've got Alisson and.
I know it's that's a story for another day. But I feel like Coutinho would have been maybe the one that you're looking at and you're saying, you know what, if you'd have stayed or you was in this current team, you'd be world class, like definitely.
Do you know the one person that I missed out who I wanted to put in, and he was the closest to getting in, was Lucas Leiva. I feel what he did for the club in that time. He was signed as an attacking midfielder, but defensively he was a mainstay for Liverpool. Yes, he had errors in him, but Lucas Leiva, for me, deserves a lot of respect for what he did. But I want Double A. I want to see your reaction to Latif. This comment, I'm going to put it on, actually. How can we forget about the Welsh Perlo, Joe Allen?
Isn't it at Swansea now?
What do you know? I thought it was the Welsh Xavi, not Perlo.
Yeah, it was the Welsh Xavi.
It
was the Welsh Xavi. Brendan Rodgers, oh my goodness, he wishes he never said that. But I think giving him that tag kind of didn't help, because Joe Allen for Liverpool wasn't actually that bad. He had he had a decent little career at Liverpool, but he can't make this top 10. So Double A, I want you to throw your three into the mix now, or four, or two, whatever you want to go with. Throw them in the mix now, and then tell us why.
All right, for me it was three. When I looked at this, two for me are easy, and that's Gerrard and Xabi Alonso. And I just couldn't pick up, I kept wavering between Mascherano and Fabinho. And I can't pick between the two, to be honest. I still can't. Because I edge each way. I think 1 minute Mascherano, then 1 minute I think Fabinho, then I think about maybe the way Mascherano reads the game, but then I think Fabinho's got that extra goal threat from that defensive midfield position, and he seems to be everywhere. He's much more physical than Mascherano, or he's quicker than Mascherano, I'd say. Maybe not more physical, but Mascherano's got more. Mascherano's got more of that kind of. He's got that dog in him.
Yeah,
he's like one of them fiery kind of little dogs. Yeah, that that he's never going to give up. So, I don't know, man. I can't pick between the two.
It's so hard
Gerrard and Alonso.
Yeah, we see Fabinho week in, week out now. So even Thiago, and we're thinking because we see them now, you want to put them in. But when I used to watch Mascherano, it used to get me off my seat. When he used to do those gritty tackles and he used to keep going, he'd miss, but he'd get back up and he'd bite at them. I used to get up off my seat and go, literally, I used to get up. Mascherano used to get me.
What type of madness are you doing at home by yourself?
Bro, I'm telling you now, I used to be Masha. I used to get going with Mascherano, So, DMX style. Shout out to DMX. G, who's your three? Are you with Double A on what Double A is saying?
My three is the exact same, but I'm going with Mascherano 100%. I didn't even waver because I just said Mascherano. Yeah, he was too elite. He was way too elite at his position and what he needed to do. He was way too elite, man. And I think if we had that midfield in this team, oh my days. It'll be over. It'll be over. What, Gerrard, Alonso, and Mascherano? You're not scoring. 100%. You're not scoring.
Absolute madness. That's what we're crying out for, isn't it? We're saying, no, in this team, when you look, and we've been asking for this, we've got a Mascherano, if you think about it, in Fabinho.
Yeah.
You can say they're like. We've got an Alonso in Thiago. But Hendo...
We need a Gerrard.
We need a Gerrard, definitely.
Hendo's not a Stevie G. We need that player that bursts into the box with hunger, but can break things up as well. And we go back to it, but Jude Bellingham just fits that.
You need is that all-action Jackson. You need someone who can do everything, and this is a lot to ask of someone, but you need someone to do everything and be able to do everything at a high level. Yeah. We're not asking for too much. I just want the best. That's all.
When we talk about, I think we've chosen a good, with Masha, Gerrard, and Alonso, those three. If we're thinking about putting the perfect team together, that's a perfect blend. But we've got to talk about Jordan Henderson, because against adversity all the time, he has got bags of skill. He does deliver on the field, but also as a leader, unbelievable. what's stopping you, Double A, from putting Hendo or even Thiago into this team?
All right, they can't. Neither of them can take the defensive midfielder role. If I'm looking at the three, so that eliminates them. So there's two spots, and none of them are dislodging Gerrard. I'm sorry, and none of them are dislodging Xabi Alonso either. Xabi Alonso was like, this guy was just such a sick player.
He was different.
And like, do you know when he fell out with Benitez and Benitez sold him to Real Madrid? That's the one thing with Benitez that really upset me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That upset me so much.
How
you aired him out in the media talking about he wants to stay at home with his wife because she had a kid and like she had their child and stuff. What's wrong with you, man? Just relax.
Yeah.
He done that and then sold the man to Real Madrid, and I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like that was
all
the
the players to sell. You sold him.
That really upset me.
The best midfielder in the world at the time. You may be talking about Stevie G, but after Stevie G, like Alonso, and he went on to prove how good that was.
Look at his career. Real Madrid and
Bayern Munich.
And then, do you know what? Funny enough, I was listening to some people talk, like some ex-players talk about Alonso the other day, and they were like, the way when he came to the Premier League, he showed actually he didn't have to be physically strong and he didn't have to be fast to make it in the Premier League, because the guy was just so intelligent and his technical ability was just so good. Like the way you read the game and stuff, and they were talking about, like, for example, like, and I think this was a bit harsh, but they were saying like they don't even think he was a good tackler, for example, but because he read the game so well, he was already there to make tackles and whatever else, but he just wasn't like physically as strong as like other players. He wasn't as fast as whatever else, but because he was so intelligent and he was so technically good, it didn't matter. He played the game at his style, and no one could chat to him.
I think this is why Thiago gets in this list for me, because Thiago's got that intelligence, he's got that style, but with Klopp now, Thiago's added that physicality as well. He's added that like solid like dog about him. Do you think if Thiago had a period of say 6 years, or 4 or 5, whatever, like Alonso did, would we potentially put Thiago in ahead of Alonso if he keeps this kind of run up?
Some people will, purely because he'll probably win more than Alonso obviously did. Obviously, Alonso didn't win that much with us anyway. So some people will just look at it like, oh, we won this, that, and the other. But let's be real. In this team, with Thiago, Keita, like attacking kind of midfielders, they get kind of stifled in this kind of team. Whereas in that team with Gerrard, Alonso, you do your role. You do whatever it is that you do well. That's what I want you to do in this midfield, because it will work as a collective. And they were able to express themselves. You saw what Alonso was doing. You saw what Gerrard basically did whatever he wanted. But Mascherano was like the discipline in that midfield. He don't go nowhere. The other two can move around, but I feel like in this kind of midfield, you're not going to really see the best of Thiago. I think that's why we get a bit excited when, myself included, when we see him doing like little passes and we're like, but it's the reality. He could probably do those, first touch. But the reality is he could do that 10 times out of 10. He just doesn't get to do it often, so we don't see it often. But I think that three that Double A just said there, that's the three right there. The three.
You know what I put? I had Hendo in there, but that was my heart thinking.
Nah, don't worry about your heart, man. Don't worry about your heart.
After listening to you two, it's got to be Masha.
Listen, one thing on Hendo,
DVG.
With Hendo, I respect and rate what he's been able to do since he came to the club. As you said, adversity. He looked at one moment, he looked like he was going off to Fulham and all of that kind of stuff. So to go from there to the position he's in now, you have to give him big ratings, 100%.
No, defo. So our choices were Mascherano, Xabi Alonso, Steven Gerrard. Wow, that midfield. This team's looking juicy, It's looking good, this team. Now, we've got the front three to choose from now. So we've chose the three midfields, which means we've got right wing, left wing, we've got strikers. There's so many as well. So a lot of people were saying Fabinho, but I feel like they might not have got the chance to watch Masha at his best, because he was sensational. But right wing, I think this is a no-brainer, but big shout-out to some of the people that feature in this list. So we've got the king Mo Salah. McManaman, if he would have stayed at Liverpool, potentially could have been pushing Salah a little bit closer. Dirk Kuyt, though, G, this guy was a worker, so underrated, would get crucial goals in crucial games, took the penalties. He was the guy, wasn't he, at the time? Like, Kuyt was the one we relied on.
You know what frustrated me about Kuyt was, like, I used to think, obviously we signed him as a striker, so I used to be like, he doesn't score enough goals. Like, he can't really score. But as you said, man, I think when he came to the Premier League, the type of game that we have here and the way that we played under Benitez and stuff like that, I think it was better for him to be on the right hand side where he could just work up and down. He must have been so annoying for anybody playing on that left hand side because he never left you alone, and he wasn't even quick. Like, so it would annoy you more that this guy is constantly hunting me down and I can't get rid of him.
Horrible. Like, that must have been horrible. You've got a chance here, G, to put Bogdan back in his place, because Bogdan, before, he called you out on Arisa, like he was saying,
What's he saying?
He's better than Ashley Cole. I'm going to pin it now. Call him out for this because, oh dear.
Nah.
No. Come on, have him, G.
You can't have Kuyt as, to be honest, you're not gonna have Kuyt in this team anyway, regardless. But at the same time, you definitely wouldn't have him at left wing. No way, man. Like, the most you could push him to is as the striker, and even then, he's not even remotely close. Kuyt was good for the era that we had when we had him, but if you're comparing him to, you know, other players and stuff like that, nah, man, he's just not good enough. But on this list, he's probably second or third. I'd go McManaman, though.
Yeah, when you look at errors, though, in the Premier League, he doesn't get in above Salah in this era. He doesn't get in above McManaman in McManaman's era. And he probably doesn't get in ahead of Lallana in Rodgers' team as well.
Probably. So, and this is what I'm saying. He was good for what we needed at that time.
Yeah. Do you think the game's changed, though, now? Because I was picking the right wingers and I was like, what is a right? Because Kuyt was more like, he was a right midfielder, but then he went to a right winger. Lallana he played like right forward for a little bit under Rodgers, and then played right attacking midfield, like in the holes. Benayoun, you could say central attacking midfield, played all of. What defines a right winger now for you? Does Salah epitomize what a right winger should be?
I think, because I was trying to do the other day, like my top 5 like positions for Liverpool and stuff like that, and I had to put right mid / right wing, because as you said, it's like it depends on what formation you play, but then at the same time, McManaman was like more of a wing back / right mid than a right winger, and Kuyt, as you said, so it's a bit difficult. So I think it's just more, I just looked at it as anybody play down that right hand side. If you weren't a right back, you get classed in that right wing role just for the purposes of the formation. But Mo Salah is the one for me out of all of them who probably does epitomize what you would call a winger, but he's not a winger. He's more of an inside forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we're seeing, I don't think there are wingers, are there, in this day and age? Maybe when you look at Diaz, I'd say Diaz maybe is a traditional winger because he likes to dribble, he likes to take.
But I think that's more due to the fact that and this might change, if he was as clinical as like a Mane, Salah, if he was that clinical, I think he then changes his role from being a winger to being someone who wants to get a lot closer to the goal. Yeah. But you never know.
What we used to think of as like wingers, they used to be the guys that would whip the crosses in. They would be Trents. Yeah. We used to class Trent, the way he does things, as a winger. I know he plays from right back, but David Beckham. I don't know why I want to say David Bentley. I want to say
but he's another one who could whip the ball.
These kind of guys who could whip balls in, they were my wingers in my head. Salah's a forward now. I think everyone who plays in that front 3 now, the more right forwards, left forwards rather than wingers. But for this example, we're going to choose wingers. But Bogdan's still going strong here, G. He's saying, let's see after 2 months training, he's bringing Kuyt back. By the way, Kuyt, he's looking good these days, Kuyt.
I was going to say, he's looking pretty. There's a few players, him, Torres, I don't know what training plan that they've got.
Karius, even like in our team, like Karius looks like he's going for Mr. Olympia this year.
Yeah, real talk. If he needed a career after football.
Exactly. But Bogdan's also saying nowadays everything Mo has speed, left foot, dribbles, and that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah,
Mo Salah, G, do you think that Mo doesn't actually get the credit he deserves? I know everyone thinks he's the king. We all love Mo Salah, but look at his numbers. Look at what he does every season. Look who he's against. It always changes who's in that conversation now for Ballon d'Or. One year it's Salah and Modric. Another year it's Salah and Mbappe. This year it's Salah and Benzema. Is he one of the most underrated players in world football, even though everyone thinks he's world class?
I think he's amongst Liverpool fans. Obviously, we think, he's the Egyptian king, etc. I do think amongst rival fans, I don't think they rate him as highly, and I think that's just purely down to the fact that he's from what I've been told by other fans, he's not really aesthetically pleasing. So they don't look at him as someone who, like a Hazard, someone who's silky with it, and so they'll rate like a Hazard more than say Salah. But I'm looking at Salah, I'm thinking, if I need a goal, I know who I'm calling. I'm not calling Hazard. I'm calling Salah because he's way, way, way more likely to score a goal than Hazard is. Hazard will look nice doing it, though. That I can definitely agree. But I don't really care how nice you look when you're scoring me 30-odd goals every single season. You could look as ugly as possible. Let's just get the goals in. Do you know what I mean?
People are talking about Mo doesn't have this aesthetically pleasing. Like, you look at Gareth Bale, who are people who I would put in this category. Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Eden Hazard, Arjen Robben. Those four, for me, they're the dribblers, people who are aesthetically pleasing. But when you look back, tell me more than one goal any of those have scored, which includes dribbling, taking players on, electric. Young-Min Son might be in that category as well. I can't think of more than 1-2 goals. Salah, Arsenal game, he did that. David Luiz up. Watford, Wolverhampton, Man City. Like, these are world-class Lionel Messi-style goals. So that's kind of discredits everything they're saying. I think people are trying to discredit Mo Salah just because he plays for Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, no, and again, rival fans will say what they want, and this is it. Like, it took us how long to convince everybody that Virgil van Dijk is the best centre-back in the world? He spent one season injured. All of a sudden, he's not the best centre-back in the world. Bro, there's no one even close to that at this present moment in time.
No one in history.
No one. Like, there's nobody close. Not even, like, people were saying Diaz and stuff, but that's them. And I think, as you said, rival fans, and because he plays for Liverpool, they just won't take it that he can be this good and, have all of these attributes, but for some reason he's not aesthetically pleasing. You know what's aesthetically pleasing? Someone who scores a goal.
Yeah. Someone who's going to get me results. That's what.
Someone who gets me results. 100%.
But Salah goes in, no brainer. We just wanted to wax lyrical about the others. So let's move on to the left wing. This was interesting because it's hard to kind of think of who goes in at that left wing position, because you see a lot of central midfielders, strikers drift out to the left these days, because you could have put Suarez in there maybe and people like that. But let's have a look who we've gone with. We've gone traditional. I've gone Sadio Mane, John Barnes. By the way, this list is just wow. Garcia, Sterling, and Patrick Berger. Now, we could change our minds eventually. We might say, do you know what? Let's put Suarez on the left-hand side and take someone out. But these were the ones that kind of fit into, we are just left wingers, left midfielders. This is my position I played most in my career. Who from that list stands out most for you?
So firstly, as you said, 100% in my team, Suarez plays left wing. Sorry, guys, but all of them would have to get shoveled out for Suarez. But in the purpose of this, my favorite person on this list is Patrick Berger. He will forever be my favorite, one of my favorite, like, top 3 players ever for Liverpool. Everything he did just looked so cool. He had some suave, like, even when he shot, like, his hair would, like, you know what I mean? Like, he had the whole nine. He had the whole nine. I liked him. Luis Garcia, he reminds me of what I would deem a cult hero for Liverpool. How people look at Origi. I look more at like someone like Garcia like that, because I'm like, he came up with important goals. Like, forget the ghost goal. You forget the goal against Juventus when we were playing them in the knockout. Like, there was other goals that he scored throughout his time. and you're just like, yeah, like he was a decent player and he had a bit of flair to him. But the first two on the list, come on, man, that's royalty right there. You got take away Mane for 2 seconds. You got John Barnes, man. Like that guy. For me, more 80s, early 90s.
Pre-Premier League.
Pre-Premier League. Listen, if this was like all time, maybe I would probably go more John Barnes than anyone else. But I have to go Sadio Mane. And I ain't even spoken about Raheem Sterling. He was decent down there on the left as well. But
yeah, it was. Would Sterling go in there for you? If Sterling saved Sterling's career, he stayed at Liverpool. He did exactly what he's done for Man City, goal, return, assist, whatever it is. He did that for Liverpool Football Club. Would you be putting Sterling in there ahead of Sadio Mane, or do you think Mane's done that much the way he's done it?
I think, yeah. Listen, I know people don't like Sterling too much for Liverpool fans, but I like Sterling. I think I even wanted us to sign Sterling now when he's leaving to go into bloody Chelsea, because I think when I'm looking at someone like Sterling, Sadio is better, but I don't think that the gap is so big that if Sterling is only 27 now, why can't he be as good as, and under Klopp as well? I think he would have been a dynamite of a player, man. Like, don't sleep on Raheem Sterling. But for the purpose of this, I'll have to go Sadio Mane.
Do you know what I remember when you said this, because G said this before in the group chat, and he got a different response to the one I've just given. Because I've heard him say it before, I didn't jump on him then. But in the group chat, I was like, what? Like, no, traitor, he can't come back to Liverpool. But the more you think about what Sterling can do, he does what Mane did. He can play centre forward.
Yeah.
He can play left wing. He can play on the right if you need him to play on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Still young, 27 years of age. Do you think Chelsea have got a great signing in
Sterling? For me,
and Man City stupid to let him go?
For me, I'm looking at that, and I know it might sound a bit funny, but I'm looking at that as that's for me the deal of the summer. I know we got Haaland to Manchester City, and that was for me that was just more inevitable deal. It didn't really. It's a very good deal, obviously, but that Chelsea deal right there, if Tuchel gets it right, I promise you, it will be a problem for the Premier League if Raheem Sterling gets his way playing for Chelsea, because I don't even think Chelsea are even going to go in for an actual number 9. And I think when you've got Kai Havertz, Raheem Sterling, Pulisic, Werner, whoever else they decide to get in,
they might play up.
Mason Mount, I know these players are not world class, but listen, in that tactic under Tuchel, Raheem Sterling is going to have a field day, in my opinion. I think he's the signing of the summer so far.
Yeah, it's the rotation as well that Chelsea have got. But this is a Liverpool all-time Premier League 11, so we don't really want to wax Liverpool too much about Raheem and Chelsea. We want to stick to Liverpool, but like you said, G, this list, it's royalties in it. You've got Johnny Barnes in there. Garcia, like you said, cult hero. He was the original Divock Origi. He had traits of Coutinho as well.
Yeah.
On that left-hand side, dropping into midfield. Patrick Berger, wow. Patrick Berger, I think, was one of the first names I had on my shirt. I had his name on the famous Ecru shirt, the cream one.
Oh, the Ecru. Of course, come on, bro. The green one was like synonymous. When you see that picture, you just think Patrick Berger straight away. I don't know why you just do.
But there are some royalty, but I think we all agree that we've got to go with, for the purpose of this, it might change before the end, but we've got to go with the man, Sadio.
Sadio.
So the team's looking juicy. We've got one player to pick. Let's run through it quickly. We've got Alisson in goal, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, and Risa as our back four. Midfield 3, this midfield 3, Mascherano, Gerrard, and Alonso. Wow, that's a 3. And up front so far, we've got Salah and Mane. But things could change because this next list is dangerous. We move on to centre forward.
This is probably the best list that we have.
It is. But we all know, I think Liverpool are synonymous with centre forwards, like buying someone, turning them into a world-class striker, and then they move on. But this list, we've got some that could play on the left, could play on the right, so things might get changed here. People, get in the comments, let us know who you would choose. Here we go. So there's loads that I missed.
I was going to say.
There was like Crouchy, Heskey, Collymore, Aldridge. There's so many that I missed. But as strikers go, as number 9s go, I think these 5 are just these five could go in the team and just take everyone out in other positions because of what they've done for Liverpool. So Torres, Suarez, Fowler, Firmino, and Michael Owen. Is there anyone off the top of your head, G, that you're like, I want to see that guy in this list. I want to give him a shout out.
You know what? Heskey, maybe, but I feel like I'm just being a bit biased because I liked Heskey during that period of time. I think like these five were like all of them either all contribute to goals, assists, winning teams, good teams, and stuff like that. So that's probably the right five.
We look at Bobby. Do you think the more Bobby's career is going on now, the more he's kind of drifting out of this list a bit? And I don't want to be disrespectful to Bobby because he's integral to this new age Liverpool. But 1920, 1819, I'm potentially thinking Bobby goes in my all-time Liverpool Premier League 11 as number 9. But now, the more time's gone on, he's kind of fading off this list a bit. Would you say that's true with you?
Yeah, no, of course. He was one of those form is temporary, and I don't like to say it too much, but like form is temporary, class is permanent. Yeah. And with him, it was more form he was just, when he was on form, he was on form. But I also think how we were played to that as well, where we've changed the way we played a little bit, where we're not so gung-ho, going forward and just, trying to get it as forward as quickly as possible, where we don't do that. That's probably where he's going to lack in goals because he's not going to really be there to mop it up. So it's going to be about your pace and your dynamism. Yeah. And if you look at that list, all of these guys had pace of some sort, at least dynamism, could all finish, all different types of goals. Bobby, you're not 100% that he's going to always score. If that makes sense, I'm not 100. In comparison to Torres, Suarez.
Put any four of those in front of goal, and it's a goal every time.
You can look away now. Do you know what I mean? You can turn away. So I just think, as the time goes on, he deserves to be in this top 5 here. But as time goes on, if he's not careful, it will start to slip and slide.
So I don't even know how we choose because I know what you think about Michael Owen, but Ballon d'Or winner. Michael Owen, I know that's going to be in your argument. I can't put him in this team purely because he played for United. So I struggled to put him on this list, but I knew G's on the show, so I've got to put Michael Owen in this 5. Otherwise, he's just going to run me.
You have to respect Michael Owen.
So you have to respect what he did for Liverpool, because at the end of the day, this is a Liverpool Premier League 11. Robbie Fowler originated this kind of iconic number 9. Liverpool. Before Fowler, yes, there was like your Rushy, your Dalglishes, those type of players, Aldridge, but no, Robbie Fowler turned the old school striker into a new school striker with a little bit of class, with a little bit of swag. I mean, you don't get called God for no reason. Do you know what I mean? So, out of these 5, who makes your team? And I've got a feeling you're going to pick 2 of them.
I'll be honest, it'll probably be the first 2. It's between those 2. And to be honest, I'm saying those 2. The reality is, it's always going to be Suarez.
Yeah.
But why I wanted to put Torres in there is I would have Suarez left wing and Torres up front.
That's what I was thinking you were going to do.
Yeah, that's how
when
probably
you
would
think about SAS, Suarez in that season, 13-14, the greatest ever, by the way, Premier League season by any player in the history of the league. I don't care what anybody says. He played from the left wing. Everyone might say, he's a left forward. No, he played from the left wing in that season. He was just different. Cutting in from the right, staying down the byline, going along the dead ball line, cutting in and finish. Is that season the best season ever for you? And is that why he gets in? Or is it because, like, continually over the time at Liverpool, his time at Barcelona, you're taking everything into account?
But the thing, you take everything into account. But even forget that season, bro. Even when he came in, the goals that he was scoring were like,
In the
like
half
his
season.
first goal for Liverpool, a ball over the top. Like, who the hell controls it, brings it down, all in the space of a second with a goalkeeper running at you? And when you do get to the byline, you've got like a tiny angle to try and come on, man. Like, this guy was scoring. I was seeing goals that I thought I would never see for Liverpool anyway, not from a player who plays for Liverpool, because the way he was taking the goal against Stoke in, I think it was a League Cup game, puts it through the legs, bends it, and you're just like, who does that? Like, who does these kind of goals? And why? Obviously, the thing that I wanted to see with Suarez, because at first I used to just think he's a highlight guy. Oh, he's going to do this every now and again. He was so consistent with what he did. This wasn't like a flash in the pan. No. He could do this consistently. And I think that 13-14 season was himself entering his prime, but also we were in a period, I think a lot of players were kind of entering their own level of prime, mixed in with form and stuff like that. It all, like him and Sturridge, I think that was probably, well, obviously it was Sturridge's best season, but Sturridge was just entering into that level of prime that you're like, all right, cool. If you can do it for the next 3 years, you know, you're going to be one of the best strikers in the world, you know, kind of thing. And I think that season, everything just came together. But that season is 100% the best individual season I've ever seen in the Premier League, 100%.
Yeah, it has to be. There's 3 I can think of. There's Gareth Bale's season for Tottenham. There's Salah's season in 2017-18, and there's Suarez's season. There's nobody else I can put up there in that list. People might want to talk about like the United players, Ronaldo, but no one had a season like
Ronaldo's season, like best season. It was good in terms of goals, but I never felt that he played like as good. Like, I didn't think the season was like a Suarez season or a Salah season or a Bale season or even a Hazard season. Like, I never felt it was of that level. You were just the best player because everyone else just wasn't as good as you. Like, that's just how it kind of looked.
Yeah, I agree. But what we're doing, right? I agree Suarez is in this team. I think if Double A was here, we'd agree Suarez has to be in this team. Better. But what we're doing now is we're just going, okay, Suarez on the left. We're just putting him out on the left. But what we need to do is compare now Sadio Mane, who we've picked on the left, to Torres, Fowler, Firmino, and Michael Owen, and decide whether Mane stays in on the left, Suarez goes as striker, or Suarez goes out wide and we put one of these strikers in over Sadio Mane. So, you said Torres. Would you choose Premier League era? Would you choose Torres over Sadio, and why?
Yes, because he's guaranteed goals. Sadio's guaranteed overall play, so he would be good maybe alongside, like he would be good on the left-hand side, but Sadio's not better than Suarez, so Suarez has to stay in the team. So it's like where you got number 9, like someone I need, like what we need now, Darwin Núñez and stuff like that. Torres was the guy. Like, I need a goal. I'm calling Torres. Prime Torres, headband, hair down, Euro, Spain winning Torres, like FIFA, like that Torres. No one's getting that. He was the best striker in the world at one point.
See, the thing, Torres for me is my favorite ever number 9 for Liverpool. Like, I just loved what Torres was at that time. I think it goes down to eras, doesn't it? Because we're growing up and Torres is in that team. You love Torres. He's iconic to you. It brings back memories. But he was just sensational. I remember like Andy Gray and Alan Shearer just saying like they would come and pay to watch Liverpool just to watch Torres as a striker because they'd never seen a striker do what he did before. Like nobody could give Vidic and Ferdinand the run around, and he was doing it for fun, like giving everybody the run around. But what I will say is we're talking about guaranteed goals. Nobody guarantees goals more than Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen. Like those two are the definition of goals. I think we're not discrediting because we're not. I think we're discarding putting Fowler in there just because that era of football.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of let's go to the pub after the game. you know what? Like, it was very much natural talent. He was a natural finisher. He relied on natural ability. Not saying he didn't work hard, but you saw Robbie Fowler when he came back under, I want to say,
Benitez.
Yeah, I want to say Benitez. When he came back, it was like, okay, you've been to the pub for like 5 years and you've come back to Liverpool.
5, maybe 10. Jesus Christ.
If Fowler was at Liverpool now, in this modern era, would he be in this list? And should we be thinking about, damn, we should put God in there as number 9 still for what he did?
I'll be honest. I don't think Fowler in this era is as good as he would be in the old era. I think Michael Owen in this era would still be Michael Owen. I think he would just still do the same exact amount of goals. I don't think it would waver because of the type of striker he is. And I can even see Owen playing off the left kind of thing, being able to move around. Fowler, as you said, because he relied on that natural ability in a period of time where there wasn't as much talent as there is now. And the culture of the game, not to say Robbie in his own period, he was a baller, 100%. We can't say otherwise. But if I put him up against Torres, if we had to play today's game and even Torres playing Fowler's game, Torres would eat that league up for fun. Absolutely eat it up. Do
you know what it is as well? A lot of people are going to go against us on this one and say Sadio needs to go in there because what people are doing, they're thinking with the heart again. Sadio has left Liverpool now. Tell me, in 5-10 years, we still think Sadio's a Liverpool legend, but I don't think we look back at Sadio Mane the same way we are looking back at Torres and Suarez.
Yeah.
You don't look at Mane and go, oh, he tore the league apart. Like last season, not last season, the season before, people would be asking you to put Gini Wijnaldum in this all-time Premier League 11. But now he's left, it's like, yeah, he was good. I might consider him a Liverpool legend, maybe, but...
And I wouldn't even consider him that.
He was just a consistent player. Is that the same case with Sadio Mane, do you think?
It's like we allude to all the time, and we've been saying it over the last couple of weeks on streams and stuff. If you're not winning, nobody remembers you. And the worst thing about it is that tells you straight away why these players were elite level. Torres and Suarez weren't winning nothing with Liverpool. You know what I mean? They were sitting there with no trophies. I think, Suarez got a League Cup. If he was lucky, I think he got a League Cup. Torres, I don't think he won anything.
Torres didn't win anything, no.
Didn't win anything, but I'm still here telling you today, I would rather those two over a Sadio Mane or anyone of that kind of ilk. Not because Sadio is not a very good player, but they, as you said, man, they tore up the league. Like, there's a difference between being a good player in a good team and actually just being dominant in the entire league around Europe and stuff like that. And I felt like that's what Torres and Suarez were able to do, 100%.
Do you know what? I think we've done Double A justice. I feel like we would have come to the same agreement with Double A.
We would have come to the same agreement, trust me.
I think he would 100% put Suarez in there, but we would have convinced him with the Torres. He would have liked to say Mane maybe, but I think we've all agreed on our all-time Premier League 11 for Liverpool. Scrolling across the bottom of your screens now. Let me read it out. Alisson Becker in goal. Right back, Trent. Centre-backs, Matip, Van Dijk. Left-back, Jon Arisa. Central defensive midfielder, Mascherano, supported by Alonso and Stevie G in the midfield. And then a front three of Mo Salah, Luis Suarez, and Fernando Torres. Do you know what we need to do? I feel like we need to put this together for the rest of the teams, like big teams. So we're talking United, Arsenal, Chelsea, City. We need to choose an all-time Premier League 11 for those because I don't think any other squad touches this Liverpool all-time Premier League 11.
If we did one for other teams, it'll be interesting to see. There's only... The team that pops into my head is Arsenal's invincible team.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a very, very good team. Like, that'll be a good game. Like, that'll be a very good game.
There's going to be someone in that team that's like a weak link. Maybe you're talking about like a Ray Parlour, or there's someone in there who's going to let someone down.
If I had to go through Arsenal, in my opinion, not going to go through it, but like if I was thinking off the top of my head, I don't know, you know, it's just if you picked out a Premier League 11 for Arsenal, I don't think you'd even find many weaknesses. I don't think you'd find any weaknesses, actually. I think they would be as complete as us in terms of midfield.
Yeah,
you'd be, I mean, Vieira, Emmanuel Petit, Gilberto Silva, whoever you want to throw in there.
You can put Fabregas in there as well.
Fabregas,
you know, players like that in there.
You know, players like that up front. Talk about it. It would only be defense, and even defense, I think they've got pound for pound maybe better defenders, bar Van Dijk and Trent.
Yeah,
Van Dijk and Trent, but maybe the other two positions, maybe they're stronger. Ashley Cole.
Do you know what? We need to do this. Do you know what, everyone?
To do this.
Me and G today, we're going to get in the group chat. We're going to put our teams together for the other teams. We're going to post this Liverpool one up today, and tomorrow I'll post up the one for the other teams. And then we'll do a kind of head-to-head, let everybody decide which team would win. I think because it's a Liverpool page, they're going to probably choose Liverpool. But I like this because it's a good discussion to have. Do you know what? Should we put it out there to the full group? Or nah, we'll keep this one. We'll let Double A join in as well. Keep Prem Heads. We'll keep. And then next week on the show, we'll come back on the show and we'll review the teams that we have chosen and have a little head-to-head discussion and see where
it'd be very interesting to see like who you'd pick for like other teams. It'd be very interesting.
I love that. But there is our team. We have done it. It's our all-time Liverpool FC Premier League 11 running across the bottom of your screens. Another great show, G. I absolutely love, you know, this Prem Head show. And during the season, everyone, trust me, this show is going to get serious because we've got a fantasy league starting soon that we're going to be bringing into the show. We're going to be giving you our tips. We're going to be talking about team of the week. So get involved. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like. Make sure you're following this guy on TikTok because he's killing the game right now on TikTok. So get over G Keeping It G, Instagram, and all the above. Double A Sports as well. But G, until next time, it's been a pleasure. You'll never walk alone. Peace. Boom.